It was very humble beginnings. One day Al came in and asked me if I wanted to do tutorials, and I was like, sure, honey, what's a tutorial? I had not a clue. Opening a business in Hamilton kind of sparked things.
We've got 14 quilt shops in town, 3 restaurants, a little hotel. It's this whole quilting Disneyland in Hamilton, Missouri.
And she ended her letter to me by saying, you have filled my war-torn life with color.
When I think of viral success stories, I usually picture tech bros in hoodies, sleek Silicon Valley apps, or influencers sipping cold brew in front of ring lights. But one day, completely by accident, I clicked on a YouTube video that shattered that image and stitched together a whole new idea of what success could look like. It wasn't flashy. It didn't have high production value. It was just this warm, smiling woman sitting at a sewing machine, teaching me how to make a quilt block. I don't even quilt, but I couldn't stop watching. That woman was Jenny Doan, and the company behind her, the Missouri Star Quilt Company, turned out to be one of the most remarkable small business stories I've ever come across. This isn't a story about algorithms or funding. It's a story about resilience, family, and turning thread into something much stronger. Let me take you back to how it all began. A dream stitched in desperation. The town of Hamilton, Missouri isn't the kind of place you'd expect to find a global business. It's tiny, like one stoplight tiny. A place where time seems to slow down and everyone knows your name. It was there, in 2008, that the Doan family hit rock bottom. The recession wiped out much of their savings. Ron, Jenny's husband, lost a chunk of their retirement. And suddenly, this middle-aged couple found themselves asking the kind of terrifying questions no one wants to face late in life. How are we going to make it? But what happened next is the part I still think about. Jenny, who had always been into sewing and quilting as a hobby, was just trying to stay busy. A few friends asked her to do some quilting work, and she said yes. Nothing fancy, no big ambitions, just one stitch at a time. But her kids, Alan and Sarah, saw something more. They saw potential. Not because quilting was trendy, it absolutely wasn't, but because they saw how their mom's passion made people feel. That's what I love about this story. It didn't start with a pitch deck or a business plan. It started with a son asking, what if we could build something around mom's joy? So they bought a long-arm quilting machine with what little money they had left, opened a storefront, and decided to upload a tutorial on YouTube. Not because they had a strategy, but because they thought maybe someone out there will care. They had no idea what they were about to spark. The magic of Jenny Doan. The first time I watched Jenny on camera, I felt like I was sitting at her kitchen table. She didn't read off a script. She didn't use flashy transitions or influencer catchphrases. She was just Jenny, approachable, funny, and completely herself. That's the kind of authenticity you can't fake. The first tutorial went up in 2009. No fanfare, just Jenny showing how to make a simple quilt block. But people watched, and then more people watched. And then it exploded. It's hard to explain unless you've seen it for yourself, the way she makes you believe you can do it, even if you've never touched a sewing machine in your life. And it wasn't just about the quilting. It was about healing. I read the comments under her videos, and I'll be honest, they hit me hard. People saying things like, my mother passed away and quilting helped me feel close to her again. I was depressed and hadn't gotten out of bed in weeks until I found Jenny. It made me realize she wasn't just teaching people how to sew, she was giving them something to hold on to. Turning Hamilton into the Disneyland of quilting. Now this next part, it still blows my mind. Most companies, when they blow up online, move to LA, open offices in some tech hub, or start raising millions. Not Missouri Star. They stayed right in Hamilton. In fact, they doubled down on it. As Jenny's YouTube channel grew, quilters from all over the country started showing up in person, just to meet her, shop for fabric, and be part of the magic. So the Doans bought up empty buildings in downtown Hamilton and turned them into themed fabric shops. Not one or two, dozens. There's a shop for solids, one for batiks, one just for novelty prints. There's even a sewing-themed hotel and retreat center. They built cafes, opened a museum, and transformed the town into a pilgrimage site for quilters. And suddenly, Hamilton wasn't dying anymore. It was thriving. I saw a video of a woman crying as she walked through one of the stores. She said she never thought she'd feel so connected to something again. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just a business. It was hope wrapped in fabric. The digital strategy that quietly crushed giants. Here's the twist no one saw coming. While Jenny became the face of the brand, her son Alan quietly became one of the smartest digital marketers in the entire retail world. No exaggeration. They weren't just throwing up YouTube videos. They built an ecosystem around them. A daily deal site that offered one quilting product at a time. Brilliant. Email marketing that felt like letters from a friend. Social media campaigns that weren't about selling, but about celebrating makers. And the result? They became the largest seller of pre-cut quilting fabric in the world. Think about that for a second. A mom with a sewing machine, a family with no investors, a town no one visited, now outselling massive craft chains. Why? Because they understood something most companies forget. People don't just want a product, they want to feel seen. Every video, every sale, every stitch was personal. And that made all the difference. Staying humble while growing big. What I admire most isn't just their success, but how they carried it. Most entrepreneurs, after blowing up like that, get flashy. Private jets, speaking gigs, maybe even a book deal or two. But not Jenny. She's still in Hamilton, still filming tutorials, still hugging strangers who tell her she changed their life, still reminding people that it's okay to make mistakes, and that every stitch, even the crooked ones, tells a story. They haven't franchised, they haven't sold out. Their growth feels measured, purposeful, like they're building something that will last. And in an era of hustle culture and burnout, that's pretty revolutionary. The untold truth, why it really worked. So after diving deep into this story, here's what I've come to believe. The Missouri Star Quilt Company didn't rise because of SEO or YouTube algorithms, though that helped. They succeeded because they led with heart. This is what happens when you take something real, love, family, creativity, and refuse to dilute it for the sake of scale. Jenny wasn't trying to be a star. She was trying to help her family survive. And in doing that, she gave thousands of others a reason to keep going too. They stitched more than fabric. They stitched community, identity, and memory. And no algorithm in the world can replicate that. So, yeah, I thought I was just clicking on a random tutorial one day. What I found was something bigger. A story about resilience in the face of hardship. About how passion, when paired with purpose, can rebuild a family, and even a town. About how you don't need to be rich, young, or tech-savvy to make an impact. The Missouri Star Quilt Company didn't just put Hamilton, Missouri on the map. They stitched together something timeless. And if that's not the definition of a modern American dream, I don't know what is. Thanks for watching. If this story inspired you, like it inspired me, share it with someone who needs a little encouragement today. And hey, maybe give quilting a try. You never know what you'll create.